It's been a while. And I know that. It's been a really crazy year. So I just thought I would sit down to talk about my experiences in this year. Because a lot's happened, and I think it's worth me talking about for myself. So if we start from the beginning, I started off the year in a relationship that I wasn't exactly happy in. It was just not fulfilling, and I ended up staying friends with that person afterwards, but we haven't really talked to each other since I left the job I had at the beginning of the year. So last year I started dating this person, and no, the year before I started dating this person, and last year I broke up with them. But at the beginning of last year, that was the only thing that I felt like was unfulfilling in my life. This year, that's about to end. That was it. I was happy at my job. I was working as a bakery decorator at a freaking grocery store, and I was happy. But as the year went on, and we started entering towards the middle of the year, I was losing hours at that job, and I could not afford to stay there. That was about a month after I broke up with that person. We were still friends, and I left the job that I loved. And I started working somewhere else because it had better pay. But I quickly ended up taking on more than I could chew, more hours than I could physically handle. Hit overtime a lot those first few months. And then suddenly there were like no hours. So I was back to square one. And worse, actually, because I wasn't happy. I wasn't feeling any fulfillment. I wasn't where I wanted to be. So I started looking for something else. And in October, while I was still looking, my mom's cat, which she's had for 20 years, this cat literally had just turned 20 in August, began to decline in health. At the same time, my grandmother began to decline in health. While they were declining in health, my cat got an infection in his leg. So, I took my cat to the vet, and his leg was drained, and he ended up being fine. But on October, the 24th? Yeah. On October 24th, my mom's cat passed away. It was quiet, and for the most part, it was peaceful. She wasn't in a huge amount of pain. She did cough up some blood. A fair bit of blood just before she passed. And then the Monday following, I left where I live to go to California to see my grandma one last time. And we weren't sure, my dad and I weren't sure that she would make it to us seeing her. But she did, and I got 2 good days with her. She was pretty coherent. I was able to, ask for help using the bathroom, and she was able to hold conversation. We got there Tuesday, she was able to hold conversation. Wednesday, she started to decline a little bit. And I remember that night she ate a pecan pie. And she started falling asleep while eating it. And her pastor came by, and a lot of people came by that day. Then Thursday, she was asleep basically the entire day. She was starting to get into a lot of pain. And Friday the 31st, we needed to leave, but right before we did, I got a call from my aunt to go help her change my grandma into something clean, because she'd wet the bed. She had pads under the bed, so the bed itself wasn't wet, but she was no longer able to hold her bladder, and she was completely too weak to even stand, not even with assistance, and she was in so much pain. She was in a lot of pain. And she was yelping the entire time. And I remember me and my aunt rolled her to one side, and we were having her face my dad, and she just saw his face, and she just wrapped her arms around him. That was the last time I saw my grandma alive. That night, as we approached her home, we got the call that she had passed. She was on a lot of morphine that last day. My grandma was a lovely woman, and she was really loved by a lot of people. There were so many people that visited her. Yeah. It was 11 days before her birthday that she passed away. She was approaching, I think, 86 years old. Or maybe she was 86 and she was approaching 87. these past couple months have been like the hardest. November, after my grandma passed away, I found a job elsewhere and I started working there, and immediately I got the job there and then quit the job I was at. And then after Thanksgiving, I started work there. It was the start of this month. And immediately I knew it was just not right. So now I'm jobless. I am actively looking for another job. But I think a lot of this year is me having to rediscover where I want to be in my life and in relativity to other people and what I think is worth my time. This is a pretty short video talking about how I feel about this year, but I think this year has been one of turbulence. If I were to compare it to any tarot card, it would be the Chariot. But, yeah, it's been a very long, tiring year for me, and I am going to keep pushing forward. I think I'm at that point where I'm like, I'm having to reframe my life. And I don't know what that means right at this moment. I am, of course, looking for a new job. And I may take a step out of kitchens altogether for right now, kitchens and bakeries and all of that. I may try to find something else that I'm good at, that I want to do. But I'm gonna just keep trying and keep looking for something, and I'm not in a bad place financially wise, so I'll be okay for a little bit. At the beginning of the year, I got my car refinanced, so that is an up thing. That's a good thing. I've got a lower interest rate, which helps. Going into this year, this upcoming year, I am hoping to be able to really push in with a renewal for something, some sort of passion. Maybe I can do passion projects on here. Talk about things, work on things, show different sides of myself that I have not really shown. I know this video is a bit of a bummer of a retrospective for my year, but that's really just how it's been for me, especially these last couple months. And I do have a really good support system, so don't worry about that. Yeah. But I think my next video will be me doing a little tarot reading for my upcoming year. If you're interested in me doing like tarot readings on here, a bunch of tarot readings on here, I could start doing that a little more. I've got a lot of cards. But yeah, if we're just talking about this year that's just passed, it's just been a lot and it's gone in a blur. Like a massive blur. I just, yeah. Yeah, it's been crazy. It's been jumping from thing to thing, and I know I'll find my footing. But this year I kind of just fell on my face. Yeah. Yeah, I'll figure out more, but I think I'm just gonna pop on here randomly and still just randomly pop in, do my thing, and then maybe I'll be more consistent, but I'm not gonna promise anything. Um, yeah, yeah. Um, bye.